So, Mr. Carlos, you can explain how did you learn these languages? You can speak many languages: Spanish, German, English, then many more. Italian. Oh, I
A bit
can't.
of
I
it.
speak only I speak only two languages. One is my regional language and the international language, English. So
Yeah.
you can say.
Well, I was explaining you about the Spanish because I was born in a Spaniard language country, which is Mexico. And then I explained about the United States relationship with my family, and then the interest coming from my parents in order to study hard English. And then the reality that I detected in Europe at the first time that I traveled there, that people at my age used to speak even more than two languages. So I say I can do it. I don't need to be an European to learn more than two languages. So I decided to take some classes with my neighbor, which was a French teacher. So we decided to exchange English classes instead of French classes. And the German language, that was a special story because I needed to understand and I needed to have some relationship with some foreign companies in a special industry I was working in, and all the workers, the experts workers, they they used to come from different part of the world, but mainly from Germany. Okay, so it was even more comfortable to try to get some communication in their native language. So I took this as an excuse for learning German too, and that is it about the languages. And what happened about Italian? Well, the Italian, it was because of the second or third time I came to Europe. I was so close to Adriatic Sea. This is the east of Italy. So I was in Croatia. So Croatia is quite influenced by Italian language when they don't speak Croatian. Yeah. So that's the reason I have some relationship with the Italian language too. And that is it about it.
Well, quite surprising for me. Anyway, do you think pronunciation is very important in English language, and why? People,
Now,
especially English learners, they are
yeah,
quite um, they
stress.
are quite confused and stressed in the case of
Yeah.
pronunciation. How to pronounce this word, and how to what about the British accent and the American accent? The pronunciation quite strange for some people, and they are struggling to follow the maybe IPA. Then there are many. So there are many phonetics rules behind it. And so, what do you think about it, sir?
Well, all the things you have expressed just right in this question, it's completely true. But I will give you a simple answer. I have had the opportunity to live and work in 8 different countries, and most of them English spoken. Okay. Mm, I'm going to be completely honest. I really like the British pronunciation, okay? But I am also quite influenced by American pronunciation, okay? So in Mexico, I can say that most of English speakers try to sound as American speakers, okay? In my case, it is not this way, but maybe it's because, I don't know, I really like the British culture. So I always want to be a different person than the other ones. Okay, so maybe if in my country we're too close to United Kingdom, maybe I'd rather to talk as an American. You know, I'm always taking this variety on my life, but the pronunciation, the intonation, the rhythm, the pace, the cadence, all these phonetic aspects are important, but are not the most important. So I can say to all the language learners, do not get stressed on this, okay? The most important things is the ability to communicate your ideas, which is the main reason to talk in a different language, okay? It's important. I'm saying it's important, but not the most important, okay? Because, for example, in my country, we can talk like a neutral. Okay, I'm going to change right now the way I'm speaking because I'm going to use the neutral speaking intonation, pronunciation like that. So I'm not saying like nothing, and I'm talking like a common Mexican speaker used to do it. Okay, but at the same time, I can talk like a special person in the United States. Maybe you are listening to me like if I were rapping and I was singing, and I'm not singing, I'm just talking, but I'm talking like that because I want it, because I get it, because I can do it. You feel like that? That's some people, okay? I don't want to say what kind of people. I love these people. I connected too much with them, okay? But at the same time, we having some people from Texas, and people from Texas used to talk like this if they were in an action. If you want to get something, then they use this kind of um, pronunciation. But at the same time, the most important thing, I'm going to repeat it, is the ability to communicate it. So do not get stressed because in the world, yeah, if we are going to use English, yeah, the English needs to be just quite enough that you can understand to the other people and the people can understand you. And that is it.
Very good. Crystal clear. So,
Mhm.
we pronounce status and sometimes status. Status is, in American English, but whereas in British English, it is status,
Yeah.
duty, duty, party,
Yes.
party. There are many, many differences.
Yes.
Schedule, schedule. So, migraine. So these are the differences. We want to understand what are the differences between American English and British English, not only in pronunciation, but in vocabulary, in spelling, and many
Yeah.
more, even in
Yeah.
grammar. So
Yeah.
I think,
Sometimes.
advanced learners can learn or
Yeah.
acquire such
Yes.
things, but
Yeah.
basic learners, beginners, they don't want to focus about those aspects. So let me ask you, there are many English language learners struggling to learn English. I'm talking about the beginners. They are struggling. So can you please give them an idea about learning English in an effective way? I mean, the method or process of learning. You might be applying different methods during your professional period of time. You might have
Mhm.
applied a lot of methodology or strategies. So, can you please explain how to learn English or acquire this beautiful international language?
Okay. Just right before I explain things about this, your last question, right, the moment, I want to finish something about the idea you said just right before. Now I'm going to talk to you as a Cambridge preparation, okay, center. So listen carefully. In the case of Cambridge, yeah, they allows and they accepts American English, Australian English, British English pronunciation, and standard English pronunciation, international English pronunciation. But you need, or you must, I can say, be consistent if you are going to begin talking as Harry Potter, you need to keep talking as a Harry Potter character. You understand? But if you are going to talk like an Australian guy, well, you need to keep talking as an Australian guy. It is not recommended. It is not recommended to say something in American English and then suddenly change to British English in an oral examination. And if you want to say something else and you want to use international pronunciation, you are going to be mixing, and that is not recommended. Okay. So if you are talking in a way, keep going on that way. It's good. You can understand different ones, but if you're going to talk, you should be consistent in the style you prefer. That's it. Okay, about that. And now, if you say, I can answer your next question about what is the best way or what is a good way to learn. But you said something really important. You mentioned two main aspects about English speaking, English reading, English writing, English grammar, and all about the language. Okay. You, Rauf, it's a good pronunciation? Rauf?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay,
Rauf. R-A-U-F, Rauf.
Okay,
it's quite
Rauf.
simple.
Okay.
Only four letters, four-letter word.
Okay. You said something about learning, but at the same time, you mentioned something about acquisition. You say learning and acquire. Okay. So, my beloved worldwide students, please do not get confused about it. Okay. There are different ways to learn and acquire. The acquisition process, yeah, it's part of the learning, and the learning is part of the acquisition, but are not the same thing. What I strongly recommend you, because this is the way I have lived my languages learning process, yeah, and I say languages learning process, it's throughout the acquisition, and it's such a big difference because the acquisition is like a more natural process in it. And the learning is a more controlled process. In the learning, you receive, we can say, classes or trainings or things like that. In the learning, somebody explains you, then you catch the idea, then you generate the brain process, then you generate also doubts about it, then you make a question, and then your trainer explained again, and then you got the idea processed and get inside of your brain, and then you now have to use it in the real context. It's more or less learning, okay? It's like an exchanging process. Coming new knowledge, you generate doubts, questions, and then you got answers from your trainer. That's more or less about learning. And the acquisition is a little bit more natural. It's like when you are a child, the baby is not receiving classes, it's not receiving lessons, it's acquiring the knowledge about the environment, the context, and because of the necessity to communicate something. At the beginning, we cry, then we Google, we woo, we Google, okay? And then we are listening, okay, that guy could be my father. I'm gonna say that, and then that, and then that, daddy, and then you got it. Nobody is giving you a blood test to guarantee that guy is your father or the lady is your mother. Yeah. But you have acquired that the mommy word it's going to solve the problem you get at the time. That's acquisition. It's for sure easier do it when you are a baby, yeah, when you're a child, because the real necessity is so understandable, mommy, daddy, oh, I feel some pain here, or things like that, my head, something easy, yeah. And that's acquisition, is the natural process to learn, if you let me say it like that. Okay, that's acquisition. When you acquire, you don't need the grammar rules, the pronunciation correctly, on all these standardized rules in a language. That's the reason I say learning is in the acquisition and the acquisition is in the learning. In my opinion, I prefer the acquisition because it's the thing I have lived. But you need to feel free, to do not focus directly and unique into the grammar rules. And then, oh no, I want to learn all the songs, on all the audio, on all the podcasts. And then you got traumatized. No, 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 stop doing that. You need to decrease, yeah, your effective filter. This effective filter is so important. Okay, it's so important. I have written 2 theses about the brain filter, the affective filter reduction, because if you are stressed and all the willingness you have, because you need to speak English or you want to speak English, but you are doing a brain mistakes, relax. Forget about the perfection. The perfection is going to come later on. Okay, it's going to be part of the process. But if you want to sound since the beginning as a native speaker, you are going to increase your effective filter and you're going to block your mind, and the acquisition, it's not going to happen. So what is my advice? Forget about the perfection at the beginning of the process. Just let it go. Let it go. The American people, for example, yeah, the American people or the British people, yeah, they come to Mexico, for example, and around the world. They used to come and they say, for example, in Spanish, I'm going to say something in Spanish, okay? I'm going to ask about the time. The time question is, well, there are so much other, but what time is it? What time is it? That's the question. Well, in Spanish, they say, ¿qué hora tú tener? ¿Cómo hora tienes aquí? They talk like, what hour you have. Imagine like that. They are not thinking in the perfection. Listen carefully how I want to say it in Spanish. Disculpa, ¿qué hora tienes? Disculpa, ¿qué hora es? And that's it. What time is it? But the English speakers, ¿qué hora tú tener? Like that. They are not thinking in doing well. They want to solve the situation they have. And they are using Spanish in a wrong way, but using it. And the communication is getting go. Okay, so don't think on the perfection, just speak.
Thank you. Well, well done. Explained well. Well, so every language has its own beauty. As English as an international language, it has a beauty. And English language is the mother of all other languages. So without English, we cannot communicate, or we cannot travel, or we cannot enjoy our travel. We can travel, but we can't communicate with people for necessary context or for emergency. So basic English to be learned. If you go to China or Japan, Korea, or any other country, English can be applied. English can be used as a common language. So English is a link language, linking to all other languages. So one day all languages may be may die. English will only exist. That mean, that is a phenomena, or that is a concept. Um, English will exist here years and years, and other languages will die. And what will happen? English will exist. It will be a most spoken language, and it will be the one language in the world and the common language in the world. So it is happening in the world. People in the world trying to learn English, even they are grandma or grandpa, child or younger, anybody else. So moving on to your career again, what are the other contributions or achievements in your life? You worked in several places, and for you worked you serviced in several institutions, and you were you were a professional teacher. At the same time, you were a music teacher, and you worked in different uh, in different places. So what were the great achievements in your life, and your contribution to the children or to the public?
Wow. What a question, man. It's not so comfortable to talk about your own achievement and contributions. I think there are many. Yeah, to be honest, I can say, because that was my biggest desire when I was younger, to change the world. And I mean, it's going to sound weird maybe and so excessive, but believe me, man, I think I have changed the world, not in a global way, but in every single world. Yeah, every single word on each of my students, all the people that I have impacted with my decisions or with my teaching way or the teaching topics on whatever. I mean, I'm not only talking about the teaching way. I mean, because in the industry, for example, the decisions that I took changed or have changed the life or many workers just since the beginning, giving them the opportunity to have a job, for example, you know? And in the position I used to have in the industry, I decided who was accepted to work in, and well, the people, not all of them have the possibility to work in. So I think I I have been um a good and a fair, yeah, yeah, that's the word. Good and fair boss, good and fair chief. Yeah. In these high positions, you need to be very, very careful about the decisions you take. And some of them are really hard because at the same time, I had the necessity to quit off people who have been working there for 25 years. Yeah. And they were very close to their retirement payment and things like that. But at the moment, you need to solve and you need to control all the process, because in the industry, it's very important to control the process. And no matter if people is so old in the company, you need to move and give a chance in other position and blah blah blah. But if not, you need to take the hard decision. So yes, I can consider that I have impacted in so many lives, not only students but workers. Okay, so the contributions, I think I have. You can you can ask to my students, you can ask to my employees. Yeah, I have made a difference in their lives in a positive way. Yeah, because not even I have I have fired some of them because of my decision. They have got even better jobs than they used to have. And then they are now happier than if them were working or still working at the same company. Sometimes people need to get face their reality on them, and then, whoa, I'm gonna wake up. What is happening here? My life is changing. What is going on? Oh, yeah, this guy fired me off, but now I am better. So maybe that's what the point I needed. And the same happened with the students. I am not the normal professor. You can watch me out. I'm not a normal professor. I have my ideas and I have some of these tricky things, but they worked, and that make a difference in all of them.
Very good, sir. So, a general question, very interesting. Do you like reading? What do you read daily? And how do you enjoy reading?
I know you were going to say
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, I was sure. I was talking to my wife because I asked her, honey, what do I like? Because it's controversial, but sometimes you don't like about yourself. You know so many things about some other people, but when you are looking inside of you, what do I really like? I I'm a super procrastinating people, and I say what. So she told me reading. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you a truth, an exclusive truth. I don't like to read books. Yeah. But I used to read books because I need them. Yeah. So going on with the honesty, yeah, at front, I really like to read news, but news about things, for example, technology, medicine, even video games, books, news about books. For example, no, that was a new edition about the whatever. Yeah. So I go and I check. Oh, this new edition is changing. O sea, I try to keep myself um, how can I say it? Updated. I'm a fan of the updatings, and that's the things I read. But if you say, oh, could you recommend me a book that have changed your life? The Bible. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, the Bible. But after that, no, I'm not a super reader. How many reads? Sorry, how many books do you read? Uh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. In my life, I don't know. Maybe 40 or 50. They're not too much. Yeah.
Well, so what do you think about educational system? Are you happy with the current educational system? Do you think something should be changed?
In the world, or in my country, or in my city, or in your country, in your city.
I'm talking about your country.
Okay. And the education system in Mexico, I consider, is in a complex situation, but not nowadays unique. No, not only nowadays. The problem in my country, and I want to talk only my country, is we have a big difference and a big difference on rate about the social status, the economical status. Okay, in my country we are around 130 million. Okay, 130 million. All right, but 40% or 40% live in poverty and super poor conditions, extreme poor conditions. Okay. And what's the problem here? For all of them, it's really complicated to have access to a good education quality. And what's the problem? We have here the public education secretary, okay? And they used to make a big effort to create a national education program, yeah? But it's really impossible that people in poor conditions understand, have access, believe, acquire, learn at the same rhythm than the people in a different conditions. Okay, so we have schools with no electricity, for example, yeah, in extreme conditions. And on the other hand, we have super schools with all the service you can imagine, even with holographic teachings and things like that. You know, so we are in a very different situations in the same country. So talking about as a full panorama, yeah, we live this very huge difference. So I think the education programs should be adapted even better than now, because they are, because I know how to create these national plannings, the syllabus and all these things. Yeah, and they are doing the effort, but it is not enough. Okay, it is not enough. So this is the difference that I think it's the most important, to
All
adapt
right.
the contents to each area in the Mexico's country.
Yeah, I understand. So, in my case, in my perception, skill-based education is to be adapted all over the world. In my country, India, there are certificates, marks, exams, homeworks. These are major focusing area in schools and colleges. They are trying to get high score in their certificates or in their schools. So, I don't think so. Values, ethics, and morality, these are very important. So, attaining high score in each subjects without having any social values, without any kind of ethics, any kind of morality. So, after education, after graduation, after post graduation, they are addicted to drugs and alcohol and everything. So, what is the objectives, or what are the major objectives of education? So people are doing just opposite of the education. Education not means filling knowledge on children's heart or brain. So, skill based education, it's very important, and knowledge oriented education system is to be get rid of, or is to be removed. And my question, actually, education is a passport to the future, not for receiving a lot of certificates with a high score. So what do you mean by education in your view?
Okay, well, I think if we dedicate more efforts to the values, to the ethics, for the all this moral education, we could get even better theory, practical, um, mathematics, physics, and chemistry, and could be like even more. Oh no, how can I say it? Yeah, even better results in the other fields. Why? Because if you convince, yeah, but I'm saying coming from the conviction, know the coercion, know the punishment. You understand? If you convince students to be better human beings, the consequence would be better students for the other subjects, because they are going to be convinced that they need to study, but not because of an obligation, for pleasure, to understand that the world needs them. Okay, the world needs all the positive things about technology, mathematics, robotics, artificial intelligence, and all the other fields, medicine, blah, 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 blah. But they are going to be convinced because the teachers, the system education, yeah, is providing them the, the inside education. There's not knowledge. It's inside education to be a better human beings. And in a consequence, we're going to have even better pupils.
All right. Thank you so much. So, do you spend much time on social media or any schedule for you daily base? And how do you spend your time in a day?
Oh my God.
I mean, what are the activities that you pursue
Yeah.
daily?
I understand your question, but I'm laughing because oh my God, my days. Wow, it's a good question. Well, you wanted the answer before pandemic or during pandemic time?
Maybe during pandemic, or
Wow.
it's up to you. You can.
Okay. Well. I'm gonna say something, and then during the pandemic, I'm gonna say it's because it's easier. I'm gonna say something else about before pandemic. During pandemic, I have respected too much the quarantine time, the lockdown, because as I told you, I have how can I say it? Because this is so sentimental in my case. But well, yeah, okay. Let's say it this way. I have 2 or 3 father figures in my life. One is the 88 old man. I really love him. Yeah. The other one is God, as I told you before. And I have one very special guy in my life, which is my third father figure. What's the main and what's the relationship with this pandemic and way of live that I have? Well, I don't want to affect him by my actions. Right now, I don't live with my biological father, but I live with my life father. Okay. His name is Gustavo. Okay. And I respect so